Hey guys, so I have Jess on with me today. And Jess, I wanted to bring you on my podcast because I was listening to your podcast on Instagram, and I could tell that you're a bit of you like to geek out on a lot of carnivore type stuff and fitness stuff and a lot of stuff that I'm interested in as well. And I could tell you're a real academic, which is pretty cool. So thank you so much for accepting coming on today and talking about your life and talking about carnivore and answering some questions for us. I know you're
Thank you so
usually the one doing the interviews, so this is fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And I've never been called an academic before, so that thank you.
Well, you're a bit of a smarty pants, you have to admit, right? I've seen your test results scores, and you're always reading books, and yeah, you seem like an academic to me. Um, but so I want to ask you, let's get started with first off, well, you're in Japan, which
hmm
I find that kind of interesting how you got there. I still don't know how you got there.
Oh, really?
Um, and then I'm interested to see why such a young, um, you seem like very healthy. I'm not sure if it's because of carnivore or if you're healthy before carnivore, why such a young, fit person was attracted to the carnivore diet.
Okay.
So, and what results have you seen from it? So let's start with first off how you got to Japan.
Okay, so I am currently living in Okinawa, Japan, and it is because my husband is in the military. So he got stationed
Wow.
here and we moved here and he's been here almost a year. I've been here almost 6 months and we'll be here about 3.5 years total. So
And where did you move from?
we were in North Carolina before this, and then before that, we were in Texas, and before that, we were in California, which is where both of us were born and raised.
Okay, San Diego.
Almost. I was from Temecula, which is about an hour north of San Diego, and my husband was born and raised in Riverside.
Okay, cool. So that must have been quite a culture shock for you. Yeah, how do you like it there?
It's it's really, yeah, it's different. I like it a lot. Um, it We've been trying to find some like cool things to do. We found spearfishing, so that's kind of what we do. Um, as far as like carnivore goes with being here, it's a little bit difficult. They put sauce on all their meat, so eating here
Yeah.
is been a little bit difficult, but it's been cool. Everyone here is extremely nice. So that's really cool. And the customer service is amazing. It's extremely clean, it's extremely safe. So in comparison to the United States with that, it is better, but
100%.
it we are on like a tiny island, so there isn't a lot to do, but we do go spearfishing and that is really fun.
That must be really cool. Have you made a lot of friends?
No, but that's kind of like the military life.
Right.
I haven't really made a lot of friends anywhere we've lived. I've kind of
Okay.
been solo, but I've been a little bit of a loner my whole
Okay.
life. In high school, I had more friends, but before that,
Introverted academic.
what?
The introverted academic.
Well, I actually grew up doing theater, so I was kind of extroverted. It's weird. I feel like I'm kind of two different people sometimes. Like I'm extremely introverted sometimes and I'm extremely extroverted at other times. So I grew up doing theater, but I was extremely insecure my whole life. But when I needed to turn it on, I could like fake it till I make it kind of thing. And then I grew up kind of as an only child because my siblings were much older than me. So I'm kind of used to being alone. So it's helped a lot with the military life because you move so much, you don't really get a chance to like make a lot of friends. And
Mhm.
I don't drive here, so I can't just like go drive places and meet people and do things. So when my husband leaves, I'm trying to just like in the house, which is why I've been really enjoying doing this Instagram interviewing and stuff like that, because it gives me a chance to socialize with people again, because
Yeah.
that is a skill that you can lose.
Yeah. I know. I have two small kids, and pretty much my whole social life revolves talking to a 10-month-old and a 3-year-old. So I hear you. So okay, so that's really interesting. So you moved to Japan, and then you got into carnivore in Japan.
No, I was carnivore before Japan. My husband found carnivore actually January or in 2019. And then I started carnivore for World Carnivore Month in January 2020.
Mm-hmm. And what got you onto carnivore? Was there someone like I know a lot of people have heard about through like Michaela Peterson or Sean Baker's or a particular personality that maybe sparked your interest a little bit?
Yeah, so the thing that I saw first was the Sean Baker Joe Rogan
Mm-hmm.
episode of Joe Rogan's podcast. And before that, I had tried so many things and I was still having health issues and my mental health was like not great. And my husband actually started researching like things to help me, and I had no idea he was doing that. And then one day he just showed me the podcast episode. He was like, hey, just I want you to listen to this may be what's wrong with you. And I watched it, and even though it went against every single thing I'd ever been told, I thought to myself, I've tried so much, like what's it going to hurt to try this? I'm either going to stay the same or get better. So I gave it a shot and I loved it.
So what were your health what was your health condition, if you don't mind me asking? Like what symptoms did you have with that?
Yeah, so it's kind of embarrassing, but so
Hey, anything
my,
goes on this podcast. All the potty talk, whatever you want to talk about. Let's do it.
yeah, I've only like mentioned it once on my Instagram, and I've never actually really like talked about it. So growing up,
So this is an exclusive. I'm just
yeah,
gonna
you're breaking
this
news.
is this is great. This is great. I feel like Larry King right now.
Yeah, so I around second grade, I started just like gaining weight. And you can tell when you look at pictures of me, I was like this cute little blonde girl. And then all of a sudden I was just like this chubby blonde girl in second grade. And then around like fifth or sixth grade, I started getting acne. And then I had acne, like really bad acne all through middle school, all through high school. And I was always one of the chubby kids. No matter how active I was, I could never lose weight. And I was only going to the bathroom. I was only going number two once every 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that was
So
my
okay.
entire life up until I was 19, and I found that I couldn't eat gluten. But so I thought that was normal because that wasn't something that we talked about in my family. So I legitimately thought everybody it was experiencing the same thing I was experiencing, and I didn't talk to anyone about it. And it was so I
That is
that's why
that is like seriously, that's like Kim Jong-un bathroom habits right there. Like
yeah, it was
mythical, like not going 3 or 4 weeks.
it was bad. So yeah, that's why I was like bloated all the time. I couldn't lose
Okay.
weight. I had acne because it was just trying to push its way out any way it could. My stomach would hurt so bad that even if you just touched my stomach, it was painful. And I was sick all the time. My immune system was awful. I just remember being constantly sick growing up and constantly going to the doctor. No doctor could figure out what was wrong with me. Gluten like wasn't a thing in the early 90s. And so they told me I was lactose intolerant and all these things. My mom took me to like a homeopathic doctor because regular doctors weren't doing anything. And then he put me on these meds that I couldn't take because I had trouble swallowing pills as a kid. So I had to break them up into applesauce. And every day I would eat these like pills in applesauce with flaxseed oil on toast. And and it, needless to say, it did nothing to help. So yeah, it was, I was going to the bathroom once every 3 to 4 weeks. I would have, and it would just sit, and it was painful. And then when I would go, I would like cry, and sometimes my mom would like have to come in to the bathroom with me and hold my hand, and because I was really young, and she still didn't really know what was happening. She just thought I was like constipated, but she didn't realize the extent how bad it was. And it would like bleed. It was painful. I'm pretty sure that I hurt my back just from like pushing so hard. Like how when you're pregnant, I mean, I've never been pregnant or never had a baby, but my mom got this like back thing from when she gave birth to me, and the way she talks about it, like it sounds a lot like what was happening to me. So I would always joke that God was just preparing me to have twins. If when I do get pregnant, I think I'm gonna have twins, because I'm used to just like pushing a shitload of stuff out of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you diagnosed with like a methane overgrowth?
I wasn't diagnosed with anything ever, which is, so it's kind of hard to say like what was exactly wrong with me, because no doctor ever.
It sounds like they don't call it SIBO anymore, but with methane SIBO, I mean, you'll typically see that slow transit times and severe constipation, bloating, skin issues. I mean, that's exactly what it sounds like to me. But so you never got tested for that?
No, I never did. I would just, the way I would get sick is I was extremely sensitive to like temperature. So my whole life, you know, like how in the summertime it's really hot outside, and then they'll blast the AC in buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would just go from like extreme hot temperature to like extreme cold temperature, I'd get a sore throat, and I would be sick for like a week. So I was just constantly on antibiotics. Like if there was just the slightest change in temperature, I would get sick. And
I live in Florida. I know what that's like. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was on, I don't even know how many Z-Packs I took as a kid. Eventually I just gave up on doctors. I was in the dermatologist like my whole life, doing everything for acne, and no one ever connected it to my diet. I took all the pills. I took Accutane. I was on birth.
No, I did too.
Yeah, I was on birth control, and then they put me on Accutane, and I did the longest amount that they would allow you to do, and I got no results. So nothing ever worked. My dermatologist packet was like this thick just from all the stuff I was trying. No one ever connected it. Yeah, no one ever connected it to diet. When I was 19, I decided to go to, I don't even know why, but I went to a homeopathic doctor. That's what they're called, right? Where they're not like standard doctors.
Well, now it could be like a naturopath. Homeopathy is a little bit different than that, but there's like different types of alternative medicine type doctors. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever he was alternative medicine doctor. And he put me on this like cleanse or something, to where I just only ate vegetables. I think it was like just vegetables for like a week or something like that, and then vegetables and chicken, and then vegetables, chicken, and rice. And so basically I took out processed carbs and processed sugar, and I lost like 20 pounds right away. And at that point, that's when I knew I could not eat gluten. So I never was diagnosed with like celiac or anything like that. I just knew like I'm never putting a piece of gluten in my mouth again. So it's been like 12 years now. And if I ever have had gluten, it was not intentional. It was an accident, because they sneak that stuff into everything.
Seriously. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So this is very interesting to me. Okay. Because if you had something like constipation, this is the one area of carnivore that I'm really interested in myself, because I have, the reason why I mentioned the methane is because that's what I have, right? It's known for like causing constipation, and it's known for slow transit time and all these issues that you mentioned. And carnivore can help with some of the symptoms, but it's very tricky diet for that condition. Some
Mhm.
people it makes them way worse because they can't absorb fat very well.
Mm.
So I'm interested to see where you went with that and how it helped with your symptoms.
So for me, when I am strict carnivore, I have no issues.
No
And
issue. Okay.
so which is weird. I don't know if it's weird because I was so bad before,
Yeah.
like it was not normal how little I was going, and I did not know it wasn't normal until I was 19 years old.
Okay.
Um, and um, so when I did carnivore in January 2020, when I started it, I lost a ton of weight that first month because I was really strict. And then I went back to like more of like a ketovore after that, and I
Hmm.
added in more like gluten-free stuff. Like on the weekends, we would have pizza, and I would have gluten-free pizza. I would drink alcohol, and when I
Yeah.
noticed I started noticing that like when I added back in that other food, then my problems would come back to where I wasn't going to the bathroom regularly. I started breaking out more. So I don't know why, but for me with carnivore, as long as I am just eating carnivore, I don't have any symptoms. I go to the bathroom fine. My skin is clear. The only time I ever have my issues start to come back is if I deviate from carnivore, either intentionally or unintentionally. So I know it's weird. I'm not trying to be like, because I know like there's like a lot of like people say like toxic positivity and stuff, but like legitimately,
No, no,
legitimately,
no.
carnivore is
I like hearing the success stories just as much as I
yeah,
like. No, it's not like I don't like hearing the unsuccessful stories. It's just, it just takes some people, it just doesn't work out quite as well. But no, I think that's awesome. So your bowel movements became normal, which is great. I'm assuming you cut the fiber out and all that stuff. And, it's always the opposite, right? People always say, oh, you need fiber in your diet to be able to go. For me, it's been the complete opposite of that as well. So
yeah.
that's really interesting. So do you mind if I ask, like, what does a day look like in terms of, like your eating? Like, um, are you on a specific type of carnivore diet? Like, do you only eat certain like a lion diet type thing, or do you just kind of are you very diverse with your foods?
Yes, I am not on anything as strict as the lion diet. I'm basically just animal products,
Okay.
animal meat. So a typical day, I really like intermittent fasting. So I try to do that when I can. My body responds really, really well to that. And
Yeah.
I feel really good with when I'm intermittent fasting.
Mhm.
With my husband's schedule, it's sometimes hard to plan meals at certain times because his schedule is just like constantly changing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I don't fast, I will eat with him whenever that it may be. But generally, it's always just 2 meals a day.
Okay.
So one meal either in the morning or if I'm fasting, I'll start at noon. And then my next meal at night. I love steak, burgers, lamb,
Yeah.
um, bacon. I don't think I could ever get tired of steak, burgers, and bacon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I typically eat I was eating a lot of like eggs and bacon in the morning. We just went to Tokyo though, and we didn't have any eggs while we were there, and I didn't really miss them. So I haven't really added it back in because I haven't wanted any. So I kind of just go eat what I want, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For sure.
as long as it's like I've found that as long as it's just like animal products or animal based, I am good.
You're
Um,
good. Okay.
I'm I'm getting more, I don't know if I'm getting more sensitive or if I'm just noticing it more because I am eating so clean. But we would go to this restaurant called Yakiniku, and some of the meat, it's like or Japanese barbecue where they give you raw meat and you cook it yourself.
Right.
And some of the meat has like this garlic on it and leeks, and I started noticing that I couldn't order that anymore because the garlic was upsetting me. So I am realizing that I'm extremely sensitive to non-carnivore foods. But yeah, like I said, as long as I'm eating just meat, or like I can do heavy cream, butter, stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, as long as I'm eating
So
outside.
do you find that you're becoming more sensitive to other foods as time goes on?
Yeah, so I think so. It feels that way, but I don't know if I'm getting more sensitive to foods or if it's just more aware. Um,
Okay.
because like if I was eating A, B, and C and I was getting this reaction, then I don't really know what's causing it. But since I'm only eating A and B, then it's obviously going to be like one of the two. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know
Right.
if
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
more sensitive, or I'm just able to like pinpoint the culprit easier.
Okay. Right. So, okay, let's get into your academic side because you're obviously a very smart young lady.
Thank you.
And you like to read a lot of books, I see. And I know you're interested in Jordan Peterson and Dr. Bickman and some other stuff. So, what are you into right now? What sort of content do you like? Maybe you could give us some good book choices. What do you like to learn about it in terms of like the health space? I know you're a bit of a health nut. So, what sort of floats your boat in that area?
So the books, like the carnivore books that I've read that I've really liked are Sean Baker's book. That was the first one I ever read. And then Carnivore Cure by Judy. And
Yeah, is
Why
that a
We Get
really good
Sick.
one? I've been debating about getting that one.
Yeah. And I haven't read them technically. I listened to the audiobooks.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, Carnivore Cure is really great. But I would recommend getting the physical book for that one because it is one where you're listening and you're like, wish you could highlight and see it. Because he has so much good information in there. And then Why We Get Sick is amazing too. I listened to the Audible, and then I actually bought the book because the same thing. I like wanted the information in my hands. And I've read that one twice. And
Well,
then
that's Dr. Benjamin Bickman's book. Yeah.
yes. And then Lies My Doctor Told Me by Ken Berry was really good. That one's super quick, easy read, really easy to digest, but it has a lot of good information. Then I love like history books. I love learning about American history. What's his name? I forgot his name. David Bartman. I think that's his name. Something, but there's a history writer that he has like a bunch of history books, and I just love his history books. And so I was reading a lot of those too. I also, what else have I read? I love motivational books. So like David Goggins' book, I really enjoyed
My God,
listening
I
to.
listened to the Audible
Yeah,
version of that.
yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
And right now I'm currently listening to Endure by Cameron Haynes, which is, do you know who Cameron Haynes is?
Yeah, I do. I've never read it, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
Good
listening
one.
to that book right now. It's a really good book. And then James Clear, The Atomic Habits. I really liked that book. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And then uh, Napoleon, was that his name? I'm like, I'm forgetting all the books that I read. But it is, I think it was Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
I forget which one of his books, but it's the one where he like interviews Andrew Carnegie, and he talks about what he learned from that. That's a good one too. They're all good.
Yeah. And I know you're into Jordan Peterson. Did you read his first book, by the way?
I have not read his first book. I am
Okay.
very intimidated by it. I watch all his videos and I like listening to him. I have his book. My husband read it,
Okay.
and I'm just like I'm looking at it, and and I'm just it's very intimidating to me.
Now, sorry, back up just for a second, because you just mentioned your husband, right? Is he's also carnivore?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
He is probably like 90% carnivore.
Okay.
But
Are
it's
you
it's
100%?
I don't like to say 100% because like when we go to restaurants and if there's like like the garlic on the meat and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
So like I'm not like 100%. And then I don't know what people consider to be like carnivore or not carnivore, like our pork rinds carnivore, like because I
Yeah.
eat pork rinds. So I would say like 99.999. The other percent is just like just little things here and there that like are either on meat or I unintentionally ate or something like that. But
Yeah.
I don't intentionally eat non-carnivorous foods all the time.
Okay. So once in a while, you might have a little bit of plant here and there, plant foods here and there.
Yeah, so once in a while, I'll probably, if I do eat something not carnivore, it's usually like fruit. Um,
Okay. Okay.
but that's like very rare, and it's if I have get a sweet tooth, I'll like blend up some fruit with some milk and have like a smoothie. But I'm the kind of person where it doesn't like cause me to binge or go off the rails. I can
Right.
have like one, and then like in a it'll be like once every couple months kind of thing.
Yeah. And so how did you get into the fitness world? I know you're a bit of a fitness freak as well. If you guys
Yeah.
want to check out her Instagram, you're pretty ripped for sure. Um, and are you and sorry, and this kind of ties in with the fitness stuff, but are you into a keto, sort of more of a keto version of your diet as well? Or are you
What do you mean by that?
well, because I mean, some people can get away with not going quite keto. I mean, they might eat like, I mean, I've talked to people who eat like a pound of beef in one sitting kind of thing, right? So it's tons and tons and tons of protein. Some people go a little bit higher fat. What camp would you say you're in with that?
I have found that I need more fat.
Yeah.
So if I eat, at least I think I eat a ton of fat. And if I don't get enough fat, then I do start getting like stomach issues, like more like
Okay.
constipation. So
Okay. Okay.
I am the kind of person that needs like a high fat diet. So I
Sure.
smother butter on my stuff. I love fatty ribeyes
Oh
and
yeah.
things like that. So yeah, but
Okay.
I have been active my whole life, which
Yeah.
was why it
Sure.
was
I know
really
I'm bouncing around everywhere there, but I like to tie in, is she on a keto diet or not? Right? Are you like actually really young or are you like 50 years old and just look like you're like 25? I don't know, because some of these keto people, right? Like I had Stephanie Person on, she's 55. She looks like she's like in her 30s, right? So I always have to
yeah.
ask.
I will be 31 in August.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's young.
It's young to me, I'll tell you. So okay, so you're into fitness. So are you working in Japan?
No, I am not working. So when my husband first joined the military, I was working, and then I was working two jobs at one point. And when he left for 9 months, and it was really hard. And when he came back, we basically like sat down and decided like because when I was working, he'd be off. When he'd be off, I'd be working, and we never saw each other. And then he left, and when he came back, it was just too hard, and we decided that we wanted to spend as much time together as we could. So I quit my jobs and just stayed at home. So whenever he was off, I could just go off and do whatever I wanted with him, and I wouldn't have to ask for time off. So yes, I'm not currently working. I'm just in school.
Okay. So are you like, do you think maybe getting in the fitness realm would be a good career path for you? Or what's sort of like, what are you aspiring to in terms of the future career-wise, maybe?
So I actually used to work in a gym, and I did like NPC competitions when I was younger, and I trained some older ladies, and I did not enjoy it at all.
Okay.
Um, and I've always been super active, so my friends usually want me to like kind of like help motivate them and take them to the gym and go to the gym with me. And
Mm.
I just do not like the responsibility of being someone else's motivation. So I do not think that I could ever go into the fitness realm or be a personal trainer or anything like that, because I don't like having to motivate people. I like when people are already motivated,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So I don't think I'll do anything with fitness. I'm in school right now for journalism and mass communication. So I like interviewing people. I like doing what I'm doing on Instagram. So if I could continue doing that, that would be cool. And it's kind of using my degree in a way. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that aspect, that kind of side of stuff.
One thing that just amazes me, honestly, and this is coming from an older guy, right? I mean, look, when I was your age, I mean, technology, social media was barely a thing when I was your age. I think there was like Facebook, but we didn't have any of this other stuff like Instagram. And I was kind of the last generation to grow up before the internet and cell phones. And, my teenage years, I just was playing with super soakers outside and climbing trees or whatever the hell teenagers do. But it's such an amazing age now where, there's so much opportunity in terms of flexibility of what you could do and following your passions. You're not working some shitty desk, doing some soul sucking work. Like, I used to work for the government. It's terrible, So, I know with myself, like I just started my own online fitness business and I do this for fun. I think this is great. I love just having conversations with people, whatever. And you're getting a pretty big following on there too. I know a lot of people that really like your channel and including myself. I love it. I love the interviews and I think your style is so good. So, in terms of like maybe doing podcasts or maybe in the carnivore world or something else, do you think that this might be something that you might just turn into a career sort of passively, like maybe over time it could just be your job or do something, maybe write a book? I mean, you have a pretty interesting life. So
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I'm enjoying just trying to figure things out and getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things right now. If I ever start getting paid for it, that'd be cool. But right now, like when I was little, I always wanted to be, my goal in life was to be an actress. I always wanted to be an actress. But that was one thing that I was always told, like, well, you're not going to get paid for it. So I've kind of been used to all of my passions or like things that I've been interested in life have always been more like artsy and creative. So I've always been used to the fact that my interests are not going to be financially lucrative, I guess.
yeah.
So I'm having fun right now, just doing it and seeing where it goes, and just meeting people
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be awesome. If I think it would be really cool if I could get paid to interview people, like become like a journalist in a way, because that is my degree. So I think it'd be awesome to like have a job that I'm actually utilizing my college degree.
Yeah, absolutely. I find, look, I'm the furthest thing from a journalist that you could, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't, like I said before the interview, I don't prep or whatever, like I should, because a lot of times I'll ask stupid shit, but but I could tell that you have a real knack for it. So that's really cool. And there's so many different directions you could take with that, right? So I think that, one thing that I find the most interesting, like people have had on my channel, and you get the experts on, they always have a lot of great advice and stuff to share and their expertise or whatever. But I find just sort of more talking to more just kind of like, I don't know, I hate saying this, but like kind of more just ordinary people and learning about their lives and their stories. And I think that people don't take enough interest in each other, because I think everybody has an amazing story if you really get to the root of it. A lot of people I'll talk to in the beginning, they'll kind of be like, oh no, my life's boring, whatever. But if you really start asking the hard questions, there's a good story in there somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, so what are you, you know, you seem to me like somebody who's really ambitious, you're educated. And it seems to me like you're just kind of exploring the world. You know, you're in that young stage, that fun stage, right? Where your imagination runs wild, you're exploring the world, you're a very artsy person.
Mhm.
So, I'm interested like in terms of, you know, what, you know, do you think that there's something you could do in this space that would also be very beneficial to people and sort of you could derive a lot of purpose from you know, just this lifestyle that you're leading and talking to people?
Yeah, I hope so. Like so my uh series that I'm doing on Instagram, I'm talking to like meat eaters, but it's called Beyond the Meat. So I talk to them about their lives beyond just their diets, because a lot of times we just constantly just talk about carnivore, like you said, like it
Yeah.
gets kind of monotonous after a while. So I thought it would be fun to start talking to people about more than that. And the reason I wanted to do that was because I get really frustrated with Instagram sometimes, where you have to have a niche. Like they want you to have a niche on Instagram and you have to stay
Yeah,
within that
I know.
niche. And if you step outside of your niche, no, like your likes go down, your views go down. And that really frustrated me because I am not a niche person.
Yeah.
I have a plethora of things that I like. Like I have so many things that I'm interested in and like doing. Like I love art, I love learning, I love like academics, I love like fashion, I love like girly things, I love more tomboy things. Like I am not a person that's going to just stick within this like little box. So
Yeah.
I wanted to try to find a way to like step outside of that niche. So I was like, why don't I make my niche about stepping outside of a niche kind of thing? So I started interviewing people about like their lives and trying to get to know people. And I really think that that's been really beneficial in the carnivore community and stuff, just like get people to like open up more and talk more about their personal lives and share their
Yeah.
stories, because I do think that it is really important to to learn more about people personally, even though we are just a bunch of online strangers, but that's
Yeah.
kind of what the world is now. And what I've learned from doing this is that I have a lot in common with people. And I think that that is something that we are really missing in society today, is like, we don't really have conversations with people anymore. Like everything seems so polarized, but when you actually sit down and talk to someone, like you said, you realize that they are extremely interesting no matter who they are. Everyone has a story. And then you also realize like, hey, I have a lot in common with you. Like every single person I've talked to so far, I share so many things in common with. And it just blows my mind that I had no idea of that before, because all we post on Instagram is just like meat pictures in carnivore, you know?
Yeah. It's a very strange community, isn't it? Like, you know, it's carnivore and veganism, and people have become tribal with their foods, and it's like they have their own little community and culture and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's, you know, I mentioned to you before the interview that like you know, it gets a little bit boring talking about meat, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and then, like, you know, it's like, so you eat meat. I mean, like, you know, if this was you know, 1,000 years ago, no one be like, I'm a carnivore, let's talk about meat, you know. You
Mhm.
just eat. That's all that there is to it. But it is interesting. I what I am interested in this community is learning why people went on this diet, you know.
Mhm.
Usually there's some kind of health story behind it, or there's some kind of personal story behind it that's very interesting. You
Yeah.
know, I couldn't really care less, you know, if if someone eats meat or not. Like if you want to eat vegetables, go for it. If I could, I would. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I'd be eating nut butters all day long if I could, So but so are there any particular stories that you've been moved by in the community? I know I'm really putting you on the spot right now, but are there any stories that, have really inspired you?
Yeah. I mean, I've loved all of the stories that I've heard from people. Like it just seems so crazy to me how many things carnivore helps.
Mhm.
Um, so like Lady Carnivore, obviously, with OCD, and she's still going through things right now, but it's like I think she would say too that like carnivore has like helped a lot with her stuff. But I find her to be very inspiring. Um, and then like Serena with her parosmia, she found carnivore through that. And Rachel, like Ribeye Rach, I think is so inspiring, and she's the sweetest person ever.
She's such a
Um,
nice girl. Yeah, I like her a lot.
yeah, so I don't know if I had to pick like one, it would probably be Lady Carnivore. I think she's I I tell her
Lacey
all the
is so
time.
much fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she probably thinks I'm like a crazy person, but like I tell her all the time, like she was the first carnivore that I followed after Sean Baker.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's probably the most inspiring to me.
Yeah. She's a lot of fun and she's such a nice girl. And there's something very captivating about her, you
Hmm.
know? I don't know what
And
it
she's
is. I think
brilliant.
she has a really good sense of humor that's a very dry sense of humor. A lot of people don't get it.
Yeah,
But she's a great girl. I really enjoy her channel. I've
yeah,
had her on a couple of times. So yeah.
yeah. She's so smart. She makes me look like a dum dum, but she is so intelligent. When I spoke with her, I did an interview with her, and it was just
Oh, okay.
my mom afterward messaged her and was just like gushing about how much she just thought she was just the most well-rounded, put together young lady, and
I
she started
know,
following
yeah.
her. Yeah, my mom became like the biggest Lady Carnivore fan, and
I want to have her over. She only lives like a couple hours away from me. I want to have her over for a barbecue one day. Uh,
that'd be cool. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Seriously, we should do a big carnivore retreat here in Florida,
yeah.
or in Japan. That'd be even cooler. But I don't do so well with soy sauce though, so I don't know how I do with that. But
Yeah, they
uh,
put sauce on everything here. It's so hard to find meat without sauce here. When we went to mainland, it was even harder. But here, it's a little easier, and we can just go to the butcher and just get meat. But when we were in mainland, ooh, that was a difficult. And then we got our system going, and we found the places that I could eat at. But sauce is like number one here. Yeah.
um, what about let's cross off your bucket list. Now I know you're pretty young, but do you have anything on your bucket list you really want to achieve? Maybe with your channel, is there anyone you really would like to interview, or what what sort of adventures do you want to get up to?
Um, so I don't know if I have anyone that I really want to interview, but I am finding like the same as what you said, is that I'm enjoying interviewing like
Just
smaller, I
regular.
guess, yeah, like smaller accounts, and like I'm having more fun getting to know like smaller people than like when I have. Well, I mean, I am enjoying getting to know everyone, but I am finding that like I don't want to say normal, but like I would call myself normal too, but like just regular old carnivores. So I don't know if I have like a aspiration of someone I want to interview other than just keep interviewing just regular people and hearing their stories. Um, as far as like a bucket list, I I don't think I have like a specific bucket list. I'm pretty spontaneous, I think, and then if I have something I want to do, I'll just go do it. Um, and when I do want to do something, I don't let anything stop me. I'm very determined to finish my goals when I want to achieve something. Um, and I've always wanted to go skydiving, and my husband actually, he jumps out of planes for a living. So I'm extremely jealous of him, because that is definitely something I've always wanted to do. And I love traveling. So just traveling more around the world if I can would be amazing. And yeah, just my biggest goal in life is just to like fulfill my potential. I've always been told that I have everything I do. I usually put a lot of effort into. So people usually tell me like, "Oh, you have great potential. You have potential to be this. You have potential to be that." And I've always been told you have potential, and I feel like I've never uh, met that potential. So my biggest thing on my bucket list is to meet my potential.
Do you feel like that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself? I know like it's always good. You want to strive to grow and at any age, right? But I think when I was your age, I always felt like that. I'm like, man, I'm not meeting up to my potential. I need to work harder. And I found there's always a lot of pressure and there's so much weight on my back. Do you feel that as well? Or do you just kind of feel like, there's so many avenues you could go down that your head swimming. Like, I don't know what to do now.
So I don't know if I feel pressure, um, but it's like a fear is if that would be like my biggest fear is to not live up to my potential. But the way I look at it is that I completely 100% believe that God put me in, like stitched me together in my mother's womb and put me in in the family I was put into, in this life, in this body for a reason, with a purpose, with dreams and aspirations and talents. And so I don't really feel pressure because I believe that I was given some sort of gift that I can use to fulfill my potential. But right now I'm just trying to figure out what that is. So I'm having fun just trying so many different things and just seeing what I love and seeing what sticks. So I yeah, I feel like the world is just whatever I
Your
want,
oyster.
whatever I want. Yeah, like that's so cliche, but and I was always told, like my parents always told me growing up, like you can be whatever you want to be and we'll support you. And they were always extremely supportive of anything I ever wanted to do or try. And I 100% believed them. And I still do believe them that like whatever I want to do in life, I could do. And it sounds like weird and it sounds like overconfident or anything like that, but I 100% believe that like anything I choose to do in life, if I put enough hard work and effort into it, I know I could do it. And so that's never it's never felt like pressure. It's just felt like excitement of just like trying to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to wrap it up, maybe you can impart some life advice for people watching this. What are a couple things like, I hate, these are some pretty tough questions I'm asking you today, really putting you on the spot here, but are there any like real takeaways that you've learned in your life, maybe some harsh lessons or good lessons that you could impart with other people?
Yeah. So, advice. I don't know if I have advice. Like
Or
I know.
just any kind of like, life lessons or,
Yeah.
just in terms of like what you've experienced and
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I struggled before Carnivore. I struggled a lot with like mental health issues. And like I had mentioned before, I was like extremely insecure to the point where I like couldn't even look at myself in the mirror because I was like I hated the person looking back at me. And um, but when I did, it amazes me though that like when I did start eating carnivore, like my mental health just like is so much better now.
Mhm.
So I like advice. It seems weird because like I really do believe that like the thing that helped me so much was changing the way I was eating, and it changed so much in my life. It changed me physically, it changed me mentally. And God, God and meat. I don't know. It's so bad.
I put so much pressure, like your brain is like exploding right now. Scott, you got to give me time to think about this stuff. I feel like maybe I should have you back on just for this question alone, because it's such a deep question, right? It's hard to answer on the spot.
I think that it just would be like there's hope. I think like there is hope is something I could tell everyone of. And I do know that I come off as like super positive and stuff like we were talking about.
There's nothing, no, but there's nothing wrong with that though. I think that's great. I think that people need to, I think that people can overcome anything, and the problem is when you're sick for so long, you get beaten down for so long that, you're stuck in this negative loop, and you kind of like to, sometimes you'd like to be around people like misery loves company, right? And you'd like to be around other people who are also negative, right? And I feel like, no matter how bad it gets, it's always better to have that positive mindset, and I've fallen into those deep holes myself. I've like I've had tons of struggles mentally speaking, but it's always good when you have somebody who is really motivating and inspiring, and I get that from you. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I definitely learned it's been like a recent thing too, of like learning how important mindset is, and having having a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. I never knew the difference, but when I did learn about it, I realized that having a growth mindset is so much better, which is another book that I've read that I really do like. It's Angela Duckworth, and it's called Grit. And she talks about just the importance of being a gritty person. It's really, really interesting. So I think, I guess my advice would just be like to just try to focus on your mindset and having a positive mindset, because it really does make a difference. Like my life isn't perfect. I have an extremely blessed life, and I know I'm extremely blessed. But there are things that I could like get down about and complain about and stuff, but it just seems like pointless to me, because I feel like my life I've been given such a gift. And so I like to stay positive, and I like to stay look on the bright side, and instead of focusing on things that are negative. So I guess that would be my advice, is just mindset is key, and perspective. And it really is a powerful thing of just choosing to be positive, and it really does change the world around you. And your words too are really powerful. My mom always told me, your words today shape your world tomorrow. And I never really understood that until recently. And I really get it now, that you really do create the world around you with the words that you speak. So, yeah.
I think that's a fantastic lesson. I'm sorry, my kids are crying in the background.
You're fine.
We have some,
real life.
Yes. Some people are not feeling so well here, so I apologize. Yeah. But I want to link your information. Everyone check out Jess's channel. And Jess, I just want to thank you so much. I'd love for you to come back on again, and we could have maybe a bit more of a deeper chat on this stuff. And maybe I could, just get into more of this life lesson stuff, because I think that everyone could, really use some good inspiration right now. And I think that your story and you're great to talk to, and very inspirational and motivational. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And I am really excited to chat more with you on my show too.
Yeah, I can't wait. That'll be awesome. So check out her channel, guys. I'm going to link it below. Jess, thanks so much again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had so much fun.
Thank you. Recording. Thank you. Recording.